Most traders don't fail because their strategy doesn't work, or because they can't read a chart. It's mostly because they don't learn from their own mistakes. And when you don't learn from them, you'll end up repeating the same ones over and over again. And if you keep doing that, you'll never be profitable. That's why journaling is way more important than you might think. Hi, my name is Matthew and this is Focus Charts. So what exactly is journaling? In trading, journaling simply means tracking your trades, writing down what you did, why you did it, and how it turned out. It's like keeping a diary, but instead of thoughts or feelings, you're recording your decisions, emotions, and mistakes in the market. The thing about trading is, we all make mistakes, but the real problem is that most of us don't track them. We just move on, open another trade, chase another setup, and hope it will be different next time. And it never is. Journaling gives you data about your trades, and it also shows you how you react when things go right and when they don't. It helps you understand what kind of trader you actually are. Are you patient, or do you rush entries? Do you follow your plan, or do emotions take over the moment things get volatile? When you write it all down, you start to see yourself more clearly. Not the trader you want to be, but the trader you really are. And that's powerful, because once you see those patterns, you can start changing them. Sometimes you'll realize your strategy works just fine. It's you who keeps breaking the rules. Other times, you'll find that your setup doesn't perform as well as you thought. Either way, journaling gives you the information you need to move forward with clarity, not just hope. You stop guessing, you start learning, and that's when things really start to change. I'll be honest, I used to ignore journaling. I thought I didn't need it. I told myself, hey, I remember my trades, I know what I'm doing, but I didn't. I was making the same mistakes again and again, rushing entries, closing too early, taking trades I wasn't supposed to take. I blamed the market, my strategy, the timing, everything except myself. But when I finally started journaling, I realized something important. It wasn't my strategy that was the problem, it was me. I started to see patterns I'd never noticed before. I could literally go back, look at my notes, and see how my mindset changed from trade to trade. There were days I was calm, focused, and disciplined. And those were the days I performed the best. Then there were days when I was emotional, chasing trades, breaking rules, hoping instead of thinking. The journal made it so obvious. It was like holding up a mirror and finally seeing the truth. That was the moment things started to shift for me. Because journaling isn't only about analyzing your trades, it's about analyzing yourself. From that moment, I made it my goal to be objective, focused, and disciplined in every single trade. Because on paper it was clear. That's when I performed my best. So whenever I was waiting for a setup and I started to feel emotions, excitement, euphoria, that rush of waiting to jump in, I took it as a signal to stop. I'd close the charts, take a break, and try to calm down. Sometimes I didn't trade at all that day. Other times, once I got back into the right mindset, I came back and traded, but from a completely different state of mind. And that changed everything. Now let me show you how I actually do my journaling step by step. There are a lot of ways you can track your trades. Some people like to keep a physical notebook. They write everything down by hand. It's simple, but the downside is that it's hard to work with statistics later on. You often have to combine it with Excel or some other tracking tool to actually see your performance. Then there are apps built specifically for journaling, like Tradezilla for example. They're great if you want something automated and visual, but personally I like to keep it old school. I use Excel for my trade data and Word for my notes and reflections. Every time I log a new trade in my Excel sheet, I write a short, detailed note about it in Word. What I saw, what I felt, what I learned. And then I add a link to that Word file in the journal, right next to the corresponding trade. This way I have both the statistics and the psychology connected in one place. Each row in this sheet represents one trade I've taken. I track things like the pair I traded, the date and time, and whether it was a long or a short position. Then I I write down the final result, whether it was a win, a loss or a break even. And I also know the outcome, like manual close, full stop loss or take profit hit. Next to that, there's the risk to reward ratio column, which helps me quickly see if I followed my risk to reward plan or if I messed up the sizing. Like I mentioned before, here I add a short description of what the trade was about, just a few words that remind me of the original idea behind it and how I felt when I took it. I also write down the results of that trade and the mistakes I made, what went wrong, what I didn't follow or what I could have done better. But I don't just write about the losses. Even when a trade worked out, I try to understand why it worked. Was it because my idea was solid, or did I just get lucky with timing or volatility? Sometimes I found out that even profitable trades were actually bad decisions. They just happened to work out. That's the part I value the most, because journaling helps me separate good trades from bad ones, not by outcome, but by the quality of the decision. And finally, I mark the setup type and keep a screenshot for later review. In my strategy, I use a few different entry models. For example, A+ and OB. A+ is the setup I've tested the most and the one I trust the most. It's basically my best quality setup, the one that has proven itself over time. OB on the other hand is still in progress. I'm still testing it and I don't have enough trades yet to properly grade it or rely on the statistics. That's also why I track every setup separately in my journal, because it's extremely important to have a clear overview of what kind of setups you take and which of them actually perform the best. You should know what confluences you're using to enter a trade and ideally what kind of probability each one has to succeed. That's how you stop guessing and start building real confidence in your strategy. Once I have enough trades locked in my journal, I move to the statistics step. This is where I track the data that matters the most to me. Things like which day is my most profitable one and which day I lose the most. I also look at what time of the day I usually perform the best and when my trades tends to go wrong. It helps me understand when I'm in my best flow and when it's maybe better to just stay away from the chart. And I also like to compare how each setup performs against the others. That's really valuable, because it shows me which setups are actually worth taking and which ones just look good in the moment, but don't perform well over time. The great things about journaling in Excel is that you can fully customize it. If you care about something different than I do, maybe how you handle specific pairs, you can easily build your own stats from the data you've collected. That's what makes journaling so powerful. You're not just writing things down, you're building a system that clearly shows you what you're good at and what's actually worth focusing on. Final thoughts. Journaling isn't the most exciting part of trading. It's not the part you post on social media, and it definitely doesn't give you that instant dopamine hit. But it's one of the few things that can actually move you forward. Because trading isn't just about your strategy, it's about how you execute it. Journaling gives you the proof. It shows you your strengths, your weaknesses and your patterns. And once you see them clearly, you can start working with them instead of against them. So if you've never journaled before, you should start. Write down every trade, every thought, every emotion. Do it for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, and I promise you'll start to see things you never noticed before. Because at the end of the day, journaling doesn't just improve your trading, it improves you. The goal is to make journaling simple, so it doesn't feel like extra work, but like a natural part of your trading routine. Because once you build that habit, everything else, learning, improving, becoming consistent, becomes so much easier. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know down in the comments how you do your journaling, or if you never done it before. I'm really curious to see how different traders approach it. And if you know someone who's still stuck, maybe a friend who keeps repeating the same mistakes, share this video with them. This might be exactly what they are missing. Leave a like, subscribe to this channel and stay focused on charts.